What if I told you there is a cathedral deeper underground than many skyscrapers are tall above ground, and trains run through its altar? Nearly 1,000 feet beneath southern Poland, an entire hidden world stretches through the rock. Not a cave formed by nature, but a labyrinth carved slowly by human hands over the course of almost a millennium. Tunnels spiral downward through layer after layer of ancient salt deposits. Chambers large enough to hold churches, railways, sports courts, and underground lakes lie buried beneath quiet European towns that most people walk across every day without realizing what lies below. This is the Bochnia Salt Mine, one of the oldest continuously operating mines in Europe and one of the strangest places ever built beneath the surface of the earth. For more than 700 years, miners descended into this darkness to extract what medieval Europe considered one of the most valuable substances on the planet. Salt was not simply seasoning. Before refrigeration existed, salt preserved food, protected armies from starvation, and determined whether entire cities could survive winter. In the Middle Ages, it was often called white gold, and deep beneath Poland, a hidden industrial empire slowly grew around it. But the deeper we explore this mine, the more the story begins to change. Because beyond the carefully restored tourist corridors lies something far more fascinating, a forgotten underground world that very few people have seen in generations. The Bochnia Salt Mine began in the year 1248, when Polish miners first discovered thick rock salt deposits beneath the region of Lesser Poland. At the time, Poland was ruled by Duke Bolesław V, and the discovery immediately transformed the region into one of the most economically important territories in Central Europe. Salt was so valuable that it funded royal treasuries, paid soldiers, and supported entire medieval economies. The king owned the mine directly, but the work was carried out by free miners who were considered elite specialists rather than forced laborers. Unlike many mining operations across medieval Europe, these miners were not prisoners or slaves. They were skilled professionals employed by the crown. The position was so respected that families could pass the profession down to their sons for generations. Over time, new shafts were sunk deeper into the earth, and the underground network expanded. Each chamber carved into the salt deposit opened the possibility of discovering new veins. But it also introduced constant danger. The deeper miners dug, the more unstable the surrounding rock could become. And every descent into the mine meant stepping into a place where collapse, flooding, or disorientation could become fatal. To understand how massive this underground system became, imagine descending 70 meters below the surface before the salt layer even truly begins. From there, the mine continues downward through 16 levels. Some sections reach depths of more than 500 meters. Over centuries, the miners carved nearly 37 miles of tunnels through the salt. But today, only a small fraction of those tunnels are open to visitors. Roughly 2.5 miles are maintained as guided routes. The rest remain sealed, collapsed, or simply forgotten. Behind locked passages and unstable corridors lies an enormous, hidden labyrinth. In many places, the walls still carry the marks of pickaxes used hundreds of years ago, and scattered throughout the tunnels are traces of the people who once worked there. Carved signatures, old mining symbols, wooden supports slowly darkened by time. These silent details remind us that the mine was never just a workplace. For generations of miners, it became an entire underground world. In the earliest centuries, reaching the working areas of the mine was itself an exhausting journey. Miners descended long vertical shafts using wooden ladders or primitive hoists. Once underground, they would spend more than 8 hours working before climbing back to the surface. Their only light came from small clay lamps filled with animal fat. These crude lamps burned for roughly 9 hours. That time limit quietly dictated the rhythm of work underground. If a miner misjudged the duration of his shift, he risked being trapped in complete darkness. Ventilation was another constant concern. Deep underground, air circulation could quickly become poor. Without careful planning, miners could suffocate long before reaching the surface again. Yet, despite these dangers, production continued to grow, because the demand for salt never stopped. As the mine expanded during the 17th century, engineers began experimenting with new methods to move salt through the tunnels. One of the most unusual solutions involved horses. Dozens of horses lived permanently inside the mine. Lowering a horse into a vertical shaft was extremely difficult and dangerous. Animals were sometimes placed inside wooden crates or suspended in large rope harnesses before being slowly lowered into the darkness. Once underground, many of those horses spent the rest of their lives there. They pulled heavy carts along primitive rail tracks that ran through the tunnels. In some chambers, enormous wooden mechanisms known as horse gins were constructed. Several horses walked in circles around a rotating carousel, generating the power needed to lift large blocks of salt toward the surface. For its time, this system was revolutionary. It transformed the mine from a small medieval excavation into a highly organized industrial operation. But deeper inside the tunnels, the evidence of human effort still remains carved into the rock. In some abandoned corridors, signatures of miners still appear etched into the salt walls. Names written centuries ago remain visible today. The dry environment preserves them with remarkable clarity. In certain chambers, the ceilings are darkened with black stains left by oil lamps used long before electricity existed. Elsewhere, the walls display long parallel scratches where pickaxes repeatedly struck the salt. These details reveal how physically demanding the work once was. Each chamber began as a solid block of rock. Every meter had to be carved manually, using simple tools. And yet miners continued expanding the tunnels year after year, because the deeper they dug, the more valuable salt they discovered. But the mine also became something more than an industrial project. Over time, it developed its own culture underground. Life inside the mine was unpredictable. Flooding could occur if underground water broke through the salt layers. Cave-ins were always possible, and the maze of tunnels made it easy to become lost. In response to these dangers, miners created a system of religious landmarks throughout the mine. More than 30 underground chapels were eventually carved into the salt. These small shrines served both spiritual and practical purposes. Miners stopped there to pray before beginning work. But the chapels also functioned as navigation points and emergency stations. Inside them, workers kept extra lamp fuel, fresh water, and sometimes open flames that could relight extinguished lamps. Over time, these spaces became sacred places within the mine. The most famous of them would eventually become one of the most extraordinary underground structures ever built. Deep beneath the surface lies the Chapel of Saint Kinga. Carved entirely from rock salt, the chamber resembles a vast cathedral hidden inside the earth. Salt chandeliers hang from the ceiling. Salt sculptures decorate the walls, and intricate relief carvings depict scenes from religious history. Yet one of the strangest features of the chapel is something no architect originally planned. A railway track runs directly through the center of the chamber. During the 19th century, when the mine was modernized under the Habsburg Empire, engineers needed an efficient route to transport salt from deeper levels. Rather than rerouting the line around the chapel, they simply cut a corridor through it. Rail tracks were laid directly across the chapel floor. Industrial efficiency literally passed through a place of worship. Few places on Earth illustrate the collision between faith and industry as clearly as this underground cathedral. By the 20th century, however, the role of the mine began to change. Industrial production slowed as easier sources of salt were discovered elsewhere. Engineers experimented with new techniques to extract the remaining deposits. One method involved spraying fresh water onto the salt walls to dissolve them into brine. The liquid could then be pumped to the surface and evaporated to produce purified salt. These experimental chambers still exist deep within the mine. Some of them look almost frozen in time. Old work tables remain covered in dust. Rusting tools sit exactly where miners left them decades ago. Even personal objects sometimes remain. A jacket hanging on a hook, a notebook on a desk. small reminders that people once lived and worked deep inside this hidden world. Eventually, the mine's economic importance faded. In 1990, large-scale salt extraction officially ended. But instead of abandoning the mine completely, a new idea began to emerge. The underground labyrinth itself had become historically and culturally valuable. Over 7 centuries of mining had created one of the most unusual subterranean environments ever built by humans. Gradually, the mine was transformed into a UNESCO-protected heritage site. Sections were stabilized and open to visitors. But the transformation did not remove the strange character of the place. Instead, it revealed even more surprising features hidden underground. More than 700 feet below the surface, one chamber contains a flooded corridor filled with extremely dense brine. The water is so salty that it has nearly the same salinity as the Dead Sea. Visitors can cross the chamber by boat, floating on water that is physically impossible to sink in. In another chamber, a wooden slide stretches nearly 500 feet through the rock. Visitors descend rapidly through the darkness, along a route once used by miners to move between levels. And perhaps most surprising of all, another massive chamber now contains a basketball court nearly 800 feet underground. The unique microclimate inside the mine has even been used as a therapeutic environment. The air is rich in salt particles and free from surface pollutants. For decades, the underground chambers have functioned as a type of natural sanatorium for respiratory therapy. What began as a medieval industrial mine slowly evolved into one of the strangest underground destinations in the world. Yet even today, the vast majority of the Bochnia Salt Mine remains unseen. Behind sealed passages and unstable tunnels lies the greater part of its 37-mile labyrinth. Corridors where few people have walked in generations. Chambers where centuries-old signatures still wait silently on the walls. And forgotten artifacts that continue to gather dust beneath hundreds of feet of earth. Places where time feels suspended. Where the modern world above seems impossibly distant. It is a reminder that the ground beneath our feet often hides stories far larger than the landscapes above. Entire worlds can exist underground for centuries without most of us ever realizing they are there. And sometimes the deeper we dig into the past, the more we discover that history was never truly lost. It was simply hidden. If you enjoy exploring the hidden systems, forgotten places, and buried histories that shaped our world, consider subscribing to What the Earth Hid, because beneath the surface of this planet, there are still countless secrets waiting quietly in the dark.